Hey guys, this is this is different. I mean, this is a video we've kind of been hoping to do for a long time, so we decided to do it. So, I think we all know what a cinematic universe is, but Brandon, do you want to explain what the meaning of a cinematic universe is, just to those who don't know?
Well, yeah. So a cinematic universe, in a lot of ways, it's multiple movies corresponding over an entire plan of a story arc, all converting into one singular point. As people may know, the MCU. We know that for many of their movies have started off back in 2008, and then we know recently it was because it was due to Endgame was that finale point, and that was what they were working up to. And ever since that happened, a lot more companies were starting to crank out other ones like Warner Bros. With the DCU, and some of them even you see the light of day, like Universal's The Dark Universe after
Yeah,
one movie.
yeah, that one just
Uh,
bumps. So,
that was not a good film.
so we it was just more of a discussion. We thought, why don't we put an MCU with anime characters? And, we filled out certain roles. But then I thought, what if we made our own anime cinematic universe? So I told my friends, and they agreed we should do it. It went from a discussion to, let's do a podcast on it. So that's what we have for you today, our very own anime cinematic universe. Roll the opening! All right. Thank you, guys. Welcome. It's the King Dragneel with the Dark Reviewer, my best friend, and Nady Boy, as well as another friend of ours who is going to join later, hopefully, because one of his projects is here, and if he doesn't show up, we're kind of screwed.
Three
'cause we
hours
never-
later, still not
Yeah,
here.
we also kind of have another project with someone else who's not here, so we're gonna have to try and figure that one out too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're probably wondering, how the hell are these idiots going to make a cinematic universe? Well, it's more of the lines we're going to build the structure of it while adding a few tidbits. So, of course, there's some rules. One, we are not going to take in certain shows' canons to mind. We're pretty much making our own universe, like how the MCU does it, where the comics have all these storylines, but the MCU kind of adapts it in a way that's more modern. So, we're going to do it like that. So, if certain series, like, say, Dragon Ball or One Piece, their canons might be shifted to fit in this universe. I know that feels kind of weird, but it's like Marvel's been doing it, so we're kind of doing it.
Yeah,
Two-
good luck trying to figure. Good luck to anyone else who don't know filmmaking. This is what we do. This is what we do on a daily basis.
Exactly. Rule 2, we are going to try to have our main characters not be like the faces of their series. So, of course, when you think of anime cinematic universe, you're like, oh, we gotta have Goku, Naruto, Luffy. They're the big three. We gotta have them as the Iron Man, the Captain America, the Thor. Yeah. No, we're not doing that because
Branching out.
yeah, exactly. We're branching out. So yeah, we'll have certain main characters from certain series be in as leads, but we're also opening up to more side characters, maybe even anti-heroes that would fit the lead. And another thing is we are going to try and make this interesting, because we've had this idea for a while and we thought it would be fun. Oh,
Yeah,
also
like
we are
how long has it been? It's been like
like
I feel like it's been like a couple months actually.
Yeah, a
Like,
couple of months.
talking
this is
about
3 months, man. 3 months we've been planning this.
holy hell! It's like we were actually getting ready to start this whole like it's like we were actually going to sit down and actually film this if we wanted to.
Oh man, if we had the rights, man, we could have. We could have.
If we had the rights and we had the money, if we had the money.
And we had the crew.
True. But and in another case, we're not going to focus like how the MCU does. We're not going to say, oh, this is our Iron Man, this is our Hulk, this is our Black Widow. We're not going to try to make it a carbon copy of the MCU or DC or any universe. Yes, we're going to take cues from them, but we're not going to fully copy and paste. We're going to try to make it our own. So I know you guys were probably saying, oh my god, this first movie is already like Iron Man. Yeah, but we want to also add a few things, like add in a few characters that weren't from this character series and such, so it's just this is mostly for fun. We're not taking this seriously, but we're just thinking, oh, if this was real, we would pay to see this shit.
Honestly, yeah, I probably would pay to see some of this shit, because some of the other ones that, especially if there's like a series out there, like quite a few of them, even as the heroes in our rosters, are going to be like, yeah, their series are not the best, so maybe actually branching out could probably save them, and I probably would watch it more. I'll probably watch it more than the other one. And it's a shame to say it, but I would say it.
It's true. I mean,
like we have our own preferences, like what we like and what we don't.
Yeah, and we have actually discussed it with each other. So in a way, we do have a structure of how they would fit. So we have pretty much 5 chapters, or phases, as you like to call it. You know how DC's now making it a new chapter, like Chapter 1, Monsters and Man. So we're having it like that with Chapter 1, Beginning. Wow, that's so on the nose.
Or maybe we'll change it from chapters. Maybe we'll also, that was kind of on the back of my mind. Maybe we'll just call it like arcs or something.
Oh yeah, true. But yeah, for now, Chapter 1 or Arc 1, Beginning. Pretty much, this is gonna focus on 8 movies, because we're gonna start a little small, then we're gonna go big.
Oh boy, I cannot wait for that bang.
Yeah, exactly. So
take that out of context.
So we all agreed, like, certain people will lead the discussion for these movies, but we will we'll piggyback on their ideas if we think they'll be at it. So we'll discuss, characters, how the story would go, any references to other movies as well, and of course, post-credit scene, because cinematic universes always do post-credit scenes.
Marvel kind of started it, and then everyone else kind of is like copying it.
I mean, that's true. And a lot of them have been a little misleading. I mean, look at Black Adam. Also look at Flash. All right, so we're gonna start discussion. So, Brandon, what is our first movie?
So the first movie that we're actually going to be bringing up is a movie called The White Dragon. And many people are going to be probably like, oh yeah, white dragons are like, is this like a spiritual kind of thing? Is this going to be like something like out of a mysticism? But no, it's actually going to be our boy Seto Kaiba from the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise is actually going to be the main protagonist, or the alternate identity of the hero called White Dragon.
No, it's not the racist from DC. Just letting everyone know.
No,
it's not that guy.
No, it's not. It's not like that. but like the whole thing about yes, as we were saying before, like we are going to take certain cues and plot points from the MCU, and this is kind of the more like beginning up on how Iron Man was. But the only thing is though, what I'm going to take from this is that yes, it's going to have the involvement of weaponry. Kyber Corp is going to be like involved in that, but it's also going to be like it has the side projects of dual monsters in canon to Kaiba's franchise. We'll see him interact with other people like his brother Mokuba, of course. Mokuba will be in there that as his wingman, or as the next like Happy or Rhodey, just someone in Kaiba's corner. That he always has to have that. And then we'll introduce them to like other people that are going to be from other series, like Weiss Schnee from RWBY, actually. Which I thought to myself that, you know what? Throughout this movie and throughout the franchise, I could like pair these two together, similar to how Tony and Pepper were. But the only thing is different though, that both of them kind of have that like stubborn ego kind of thing, and not that playful one in the MCU. So it kind of will be like literally like the whole Team 4-star thing.
Arrogant dick!
Spoiled sow!
You!
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 My room, 10 minutes.
Yeah. But
Like,
why is
who had
Weiss
the bigger
involved?
ego?
It's gonna have that friction, like that, like always those like stubborn people are gonna have that kind of friction, but it's gonna like bloom, it's gonna blossom, it's gonna like show like they do care about each other, and they will fall in love, and they'll start being a couple. But that will happen until later. That's not that everyone else. It's gonna happen later. It's not gonna happen right now. Just to let you know.
We're just
But it'll actually go into basically the James Rhodey, or like the embodiment of that, with Weiss Steiner from Eden Zero, which I will give fellow people out there the whole thing about his story is with the Arsenal armor, and that may or may not be a collaboration with a possible sequel. I leave that note there. But then, of course, you always have to have those like antagonists, the villains, and of course, Kaiba. His thing is always his father, his foster father, of course, not his biological father, is Gozaburo Kaiba, and basically set like 20 at the time period where we're at. Kaiba is like 23 years of age, mid to like early 20s. So we'll say that. And the whole thing about him, his company's the biggest name in Japan. He's inherited his father's legacy. When I'm not really going to kill Gozaburo off, I'm actually going to have him retire. But then when he actually sees this like white dragon persona, like decimating all like his like business practices with terrorists and villains of this movie, he'll actually step in and like say to Kaiba, like, I'm taking over. Get out of the way, child. You're basically, I should never have left you the company. And then it'll go into that whole thing like Kaiba is trying to find out who he is, especially from his origin. And yes, I'm gonna reference this a little bit. Like he was captured by people like a rival company, like probably like I keep forgetting the guy's name in Yu-Gi-Oh! Who was the rival?
Siegfried Lloyd or Von Schroeder.
Like we could probably like introduce him maybe, but mostly his company. Like there's a dark side of his company trying to get the upper hand, and maybe kidnapping Kaiba is the best way and hold him for ransom to like get those stocks up again. But that'll go into like, yes, okay, he knows the fact like they're using his weapons against him, but he programmed these for dual monsters, and yet they manufacture them into weapons of mass destruction. So then he begins to make his armor, and it becomes the White Dragon, as not really yet, but people start calling him this because he looks like a persona of what's Kaiba's favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster, the Blue-Eyes White Dragon.
And for people who want to know what it would kind of look like, imagine Lord of the Red from Yu-Gi-Oh! When Joey used that, except it's Blue Eyes design and with weapons and cooler. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Joey. That season was just it didn't make any sense. It was not needed. It did not need that. I'm sorry.
No, it did not.
Well, yeah, then like seeing all that and like he actually learns that his father actually supplied these, and that actually sparks him the fact that, okay, I'm gonna bow out. I'm not gonna like do weapons anymore. So and so he needs another person on his side. So and steps in Weiss Schnee. And of course, we'll have like a little playful back and forth. He's trying to see what she can do, and then like just have a punchline there. I'm sure we can probably figure it out when we ever write a script for it. Yep. So Seto's basically able to announce all of his weapons are discontinued, and his father is mad about that. But then we actually get the whole thing that when Weiss actually finds out that he is the White Dragon, that he is the White Dragon alternate identity. So they actually start to help each other. They grow closer. I would say they would almost kind of be a relationship at that in this movie, but more so save it for later. You don't want to just jump into the deep end with that one.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And so for Gozaburo's alternate identity, it was in my back of my mind, and we know how like Gozaburo was part of the AI arc from season 4 of Yu-Gi-Oh! In that timeline. Have that be his armor would actually mimic the five-headed dragon. Basically, like trying to be the most strongest, and like show you that you're a child playing hero. And then we'll have it's a big climactic fight. Kaiba and Gozaburo go at each other. Kaiba almost loses his life, while Gozaburo ends up getting killed. And that could like you guys can picture it however you want. We're trying to see about that. This is not like breakdown of storyboards.
Yeah, exactly.
So now Kaiba is now like Kaiba Corp is done. It's no more in the military business. It's now focusing on dual monsters, where he makes a new announcement. probably similar to the announcement he made in Dark Side Dimensions with his new dual disc. But in the process of that, he's like, no, I am the White Dragon. and boom, press conferences galore, like, Kaiba is White Dragon. White Dragon identity revealed. And that's basically where the first movie would end. Like, Kaiba just opened himself to the world. Like, how is he going to move on after this? But that will go into the after credits scene, which we have when he returns after making that announcement, only to see someone with a blue trench coat, a white glove. People probably know where I'm going with this. Yep, we're making Roy Mustang the Nick Fury-esque kind of leader and formation of. He's saying we're forming a team together, and he wants you to join. And we're basically calling that team the Silver Sentinels. That's how we're gonna kick this thing off with Kaiba in the front seat.
Yep. That's good. See, like, that's our first movie. Yeah, of course, this is pretty much like Iron Man, but as you can see, we're also adding a few different things, and I think White Dragon would be an interesting start, Plus, I don't know, I always pictured Kaiba, how he has the Blue Eyes White Dragon jet? I can imagine one of his suits comes out of that.
Honestly, I could probably make sense, especially with how, like, Tony has that from Iron Man 2 when he has it in his briefcase.
I'm pretty sure why Steiner would just look at the merchandise and look at Kaiba and say, "You really have a fetish for dragons, don't you?"
All right, we had fun. So
gives him the look.
Have to. You gotta add, you gotta sprinkle in that comedy, because Kaiba can't just be the
Tony
rich
Stark.
boy prick that people think he is.
Yeah, I mean, and of course in this movie, like in this series, you'll see Kaiba he's still a dick, but he's not as much of a dick. He does care. No. All right.
He does care.
Now, this leads into our second movie, and it is titled Soul Reaper. You're probably wondering where that's from. I won't keep you in suspense. It is a movie focusing on Ichigo Kurosaki, or as he'll be known in this series, the Reaper. So you're probably wondering, how is this going to work? So it's pretty much, this takes place maybe about a month after Kaiba's reveal of being the White Dragon, where we see pretty much 19-year-old Ichigo Kurosaki, who just graduated high school, pretty much trying to live a life as, a doctor, like his father. But like how Bleach went, he starts seeing spirits and it annoys him until one day he meets a young girl, aka Rukia. And it pretty much follows the same kind of trend as Bleach, where he learns that it kind of shifts where he kind of learns he does have spiritual power, and Rukia is surprised, so she kind of mentors him to use it. And it kind of follows the first few episodes of Bleach, where he's learning how to use his power, how to get out of his body. It's kind of like that. And on the way, he meets, of course, his love interest in the goddamn show, Orihime Inoue, as well as Kisuke Urahara and Yori Shion, who help him train, while also warning him that if he keeps meddling in certain affairs, the Soul Society might have a few words. But of course, then when Ichigo's learning more about hollows and such, he ends up clashing against a bowman called Uryu, who warns him that all hollows must be destroyed and not cleansed. That's when we learn of someone gathering hollows to create a mass panic or a mass carnage. His name is Grimmjow. He is herding the hollows into killing people and making more. So Ichigo and Rukia kind of spend the movie trying to stop him. And along the way, there's some banter here and there where it's like where Ichigo points out Rukia's tsundere tendencies, and Rukia's just telling him he's such an idiot. But you can tell there's like a spark between them. And then we learn more about Ichigo's past, about how he's able to see spirits, how his mother was killed by this hollow. And then that leads Ichigo to finding this man called Grimmjow, who is pretty much a hollow slash hybrid of a Soul Reaper, or as Rukia calls him, an Arrancar. And it's pretty much, it goes how they meet in anime, where, Ichigo gets his shit beat in And he actually, in this version, he almost gets killed by the monster that killed his mother, Grand Fisher. But Rukia takes him away, and of course we have this little arc of him doubting himself. You know how all movies have the protagonist at the lowest, and eventually gets back up. That's what he does. Though when Ichigo is almost killed, he hears a voice mocking him, which hints at his hollow form. So eventually in the movie, Ichigo is able to push through and kill Grand Fisher while also wounding Grimmjow, and eventually kind of breaks this gate that Grimmjow was making. But before Grimmjow could escape, he tells Ichigo that he's not going to be gone forever. He will be back. And it hints at more of the Arrancar. So eventually the movie ends with Ichigo and Rukia, saying goodbye because Rukia tells him that she has to report to the Soul Society. Although he asks her if she's going to report him, she tells him, "Why would I report a punk with orange hair?" Of course, he's gonna be like, "Wow." Although I can imagine just Rukia gives him she walks up to him, tells him come down, and when he does, she gives him a small peck on the cheek. She says, "Don't be a stranger, Ichigo," and eventually leaves. Which pretty much, it shows that there is something between them. And now Ichigo has a responsibility as a Soul Reaper, or a substitute. Although Uryu, of course, warns him that if he gets in the way again, they're not gonna talk it out. Which Ichigo accepts.
As people may know, Ichigo is we know Ichigo. He's not one to sit back and talk things out. He's pretty gung ho, still in his character, but we're gonna try to at least make that believable.
Exactly. Although near the end of the movie, when Ichigo's returning to his dorm after doing class, he gets a neighbor, a man in a blue trench coat with sharp spiky hair, who tells him that he was impressed with how Ichigo was able to handle certain things, especially with the hollows, and Ichigo asks how he knows, and he tells him that Ichigo flickers every now and then, so he could visibly see him as a Soul Reaper. This man, he introduced himself. Name's Mace Hughes. And this is my daughter, Elise! Ichigo's just surprised, why does he want him? And he's like, "Well, Ichigo, have you heard of the Vanguard?" And that's how it ends. Ichigo pretty much being offered the chance to join this group called Vanguard, or who we now know as the Silver Sentinels. So we're going to clarify, Vanguard is pretty much our version of S.H.I.E.L.D. So,
we probably should have mentioned that before, but still, it's there now.
Yeah. Although the post-credits scene pretty much has a redheaded girl with a long ponytail arriving in Europe. She looks through a grassy plain and eventually finds something. So she calls it in, telling her boss that she found it. What is it? A sword based on Excalibur. And that's our post-credit scene for Soul Reaper.
So people may know the whole thing about with Bleach. We'll probably say it's more on the mystical side, and we probably saying we probably should have put this in the whatever chapter we're gonna have in the spiritual one, but it's still kind of
teaser for what's to come.
It is. We're supposed to be teasing what's to come. We're not gonna be dropping it in and introducing a whole world and a side thing all at once. You gotta build it up. So Ichigo is definitely probably another one of those characters where you can actually follow and see things through his eyes little by little and connect with the character.
Exactly. Though the idea of the afterlife will bring a focus into the main theme of the first arc or chapter. So now let's talk about our next movie, simply titled Saber. You're probably wondering.
Which people, pretty much what the whole if people may know this. We're going to introduce our main character with this is Artoria Pendragon, as people may know as Saber from the Fate Stay franchise. So this one, we didn't really have someone's name on this one, so we can probably see if we can bounce off each other with this one actually.
Yeah.
10,000 years ago in layman's terms of Fate, a long time ago, Don't even bother trying to look it up, okay? I fucking tried. I have fucking tried trying to put piecing Fate together. It is fucking hard, okay?
Oh, no
Just
kidding.
say that Kingdom Hearts' BlazBlue is convoluted. Look
Yeah,
at
no. Someone come talk to me when you figure out the whole Fate franchise. Come and talk to me. I want to hear that conversation. So yeah, 10,000 years ago, set in whatever time period we're gonna set it in, wherever landscape. Most likely Europe, because Saber is based on King Arthur, and that is an English tale, with Excalibur being one of the most famous swords in English history, and also in human history. But it's definitely more of an English folk tale. So basically, we would have like introducing all the ones that we know in Fate, like Saber. We'll introduce some of the villains like Lancelot, and especially Gilgamesh. Maybe like Castor, as well as Archer. Maybe we're not too sure about this one, unless someone else knows who else we're probably going to be introducing.
I think we should also bring in Merlin, because people know Merlin in the Legend of King Arthur was the one that showed Arthur where the magic sword was, and was the one that pretty much told him to lift it. And no, we're not talking about Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins. We're talking about Merlin from Fate.
Yeah.
Like the actual legit Merlin character.
I mean, Merlin from Seven Deadly Sins is cool, but you know.
Yeah, and she's cool, and she's OP, and we know that.
Yeah. So, of course, in this movie. Oh, okay. You want to?
No. Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. So this movie is pretty much. Think of it like Wonder Woman, in the sense that we're focusing in the past rather than the present. Though we do tease why we're focusing on the past. So pretty much, this movie focuses on the new king of Britain, aka Saber, who is now trying to stop this great world war, led by a man named Gilgamesh, who is trying to take one of the greatest treasures in the land, which
as people we know, this is where we're going to introduce the whole thing about the Fate continuity, which is it's all revolved around the Holy Grail Wars. So that could actually be something that they're trying to get for it, still in continuity and still in canon, but it's actually something else that we're going to like introduce. Like Gilgamesh actually knows this. Like Gilgamesh has always been this like very like calculative. He thinks like 10 steps ahead of everybody. He is like so egotistical, but he has the willpower to back it up, and there's such a rival and even match for especially Saber, especially when she uses like the most powerful weapon is Excalibur. So the whole thing about this war, and Saber is trying to stop it, like we know with Wonder Woman. She was trying to stop Ares for causing war to get stronger. Gilgamesh is more of like Gilgamesh's character. I mean, yes, like going back to like the Fate continuity, his character does kind of change back and forth, but we'll probably stick with the one that we know is the most truest villains of a villainous Gilgamesh is both in Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. So a war between these two is definitely going to rock the land to its core. So Saber's trying to figure that out. Merlin is being her like advisor, strategist, the whole like person you would know in fantasy timelines. But I think the thing about trying to bring it in more to like trying to stay on topic for its story is that Saber learns of the Holy Grail that Gilgamesh is trying to find, and Merlin may actually know where it is. The whole concept of the Holy Grail War in the Fate universe has always been convoluted like that. So we're gonna like go ahead and jump into that. And also, hello to everybody out there for in the podcast. Trey Alexander just jumped in.
Hey, first off, I would like to apologize for how late I was. I estimate I'll be back home beforehand, but as of right now, I live in Vegas and we're currently experiencing some out of nowhere flash floods. Like literally all the way back to my place got blocked off.
Gotcha. Okay, so as long as you're safe, man. As long as you're safe.
Yeah. So right now we're on.
So yeah, we
our
just
movie
talked about
three.
my movie, which is White Dragon with Seto Kaiba, and we also just wrapped up Reaper with Ichigo. So now we're talking about the Saber movie, starring Saber herself, as well as Merlin, Lancelot, and Gilgamesh. So
Gotcha.
we're basically the whole to like summarize it for everyone out there who's joining us later, and also who's Trey's joining us later. We're gonna set it 1,000 years ago. This is basically gonna be like our Wonder Woman or like Thor-esque kind of a story. So it's gonna be taking place in the past. Saber is trying to stop Gilgamesh for waging a whole war in Europe 1,000 years ago, and they're trying to get this. They're trying to get the Holy Grail, which we know in Fate is the main objective in every servant and all that. So we're trying to lay it out to why they want to find it and what is it actually gonna like tie into the future of this chapter, so that you know.
So, in addition to that, during the movie, we actually see more of Saber's past. You know how she wants to stop war because when she was younger, growing up in Britain, she sees war. Saw how her father was killed. She saw how children were just starved in streets. Whereas we see Gilgamesh, he, like later on in the movie, he tells Saber that he is doing this because he thinks he's the legitimate ruler of the world, that the world can only prosper because of him. So he's trying to find the Holy Grail and the core. Though, of course, Saber's like, what are you talking about? What core? And of course, Gilgamesh, like a dick, he doesn't tell her. Though she ends up... Oh, good.
No. It's good also for Trey to understand. Like, the Gilgamesh we chose for this one is the Fate Zero and the Fate Unlimited Blade Works. Basically, the whole part of Gilgamesh being just full on villain.
I can understand that, and although I've seen debates saying that, like, even though he is pretty much unequivocally evil, in that Gilgamesh's motivations for why he does what he does is it goes beyond just ego and pride. It's more so like he had like a very, like, from what I recall, the gist is like he had such a high expectation of how humanity should be in the future, and the fact that we are where we are currently, it's like, you know, might as well just fuck over everyone in the process.
Exactly, which basically ties into into someone like the Red Skull, like his motivations. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead and continue with your point.
Of course, Saber eventually starts doubting herself when one of her knights, Lancelot, is corrupted by Gilgamesh due to his dark magic, and it causes her to lose her trust in Excalibur, who in a way it's kind of like Mjolnir, where it doesn't see her as worthy for a while, but then she starts recalling what her father said about the good of humanity. So eventually, of course, she gains the power of her sword. She is able to hold back Gilgamesh's army, and unfortunately, she does kill Lancelot, even though she does love him. Like, in this movie, it's kind of hinted that she has feelings for Lancelot, because even though he was her knight, he and her, like, they had kind of respect, but she felt a little more. And eventually... I'm sorry, what?
That's kind of a bit of a play on the classic Arthurian legend there, because it was actually, like, originally Lancelot would be cheating with King Arthur's wife. I forgot her name, though, but basically they had an affair going on behind King Arthur's back, which led to King Arthur more or less killing Lancelot.
Yeah. So it's still in the Fate style, but it's still also calling back to the actual lore of what we're telling about this legend.
Yeah, and of course. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. It's like we can probably also, like, if Excalibur doesn't see Saber as a worthy king, it could probably like hints the fact that maybe there's like a darker side to Saber in contrast to that, which is Saber Alter.
Okay, yeah.
But that's for like a different debate. So
yeah.
But the whole reason where she finds herself, she learns that, like, from her father, like, as Kevin said, like a true king, a true ruler, fights to save for the people, to like rule of the people, and not just like be an oppressor. That's basically how she sees Gilgamesh, and that's Gilgamesh may not admit it, but that's kind of basically what his whole motivation is. So the whole war and the fight goes about, and of course we're going to see like Saber unleashing the ultimate power of Excalibur, which everyone knows like Excalibur.
Exactly.
That's basically the ultimate technique, and like it's basically a whole fuck you to laws of reality. I'm gonna say that right now.
Exactly. And because of
Gilgamesh
this,
may not-
go ahead.
No, yeah. And then people may say like Gilgamesh might actually die from this, but no, he's actually not. He's actually going to be banished to an alternate, to another plane of reality, thanks to Excalibur, and so the movie will end with a Saber sheathing Excalibur, because basically during this whole thing, like, England was destroyed. The whole like land is destroyed. People are dead. The castle's in ruins. What is there to live for but to basically be a noble king and not try to like find another place to rule, but to like just end it here? And she would actually seal a piece of her in Excalibur and place it in like a tomb or somewhere where someone else can find it. Harking back to that post-credit scene from Reaper, and how we actually find it when Vanguard, aka S.H.I.E.L.D. in our universe, finds this and awaken her.
Exactly.
Like, and it's basically similar to how Cap awoke from his hibernation slumber. Like, she's looking around. It's modern day England. It's like, you've been asleep, Your Highness, for over a thousand years. It's not right. Boom. Credits will hit.
Exactly.
So like post-credit scene, like, does anyone like, do we know? Like, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
I like a post-credit scene I can think of for her is Saber is just watching TV. She's just like, what is, like, she's trying to learn like what is TV, but then it eventually goes to a news article focusing on a human flying, and she wonders who that is, which actually leads to our next movie.
Exactly. Okay. So we may not have like the most cohesive thought, but this one was definitely kind of left on the back burner. No one else really touched it, so we kind of did what best we could.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to the next one, which Kevin is actually gonna take over directorial duties on this one, which is Saiyaman.
And of course, people know from Dragon Ball Z, it's Son Gohan. Now, I know, people are going to be like, but what about Goku? Why can't you just have Goku? Well, honestly...
We already have Goku's story.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
we don't really need it. I mean, it would be cool, because in this movie, I feel like it could follow like a trend of, Man of Steel. But I think what would be interesting, instead of having, just focus on Goku when he's on Earth, focus on his son. So pretty much, of course, Gohan's the main hero of this movie, and he is pretty much like Ichigo, he's about to graduate high school, and he starts learning that he has these powers, or he has super strength. He knows he has super strength, and he's wondering where that's from. And of course, other characters being introduced, Chi-Chi, his mother, who, in a way, think of her like the Martha Kent of the movie. And of course, there's also Goten, his little brother. And then there's also Bulma, who is Goku's best friend, as well as his mentor, Roshi. But of course, the big villain of this movie is actually Raditz. I know people want to say, what about Vegeta? Well, I think this is more personal, because Raditz is his uncle, so I think that would be better than just having, Vegeta. Although...
Gohan needs to get that get back for getting kicked in the stomach.
Well, that's not canon in this universe, Trey.
He'll get his get back across dimensions.
God damn it. Okay. So
Multiverses are a bitch, as people know.
Exactly. So pretty much this movie, like we said, this movie would actually take place maybe 2 months after White Dragon and Soul Reaper. So we see Gohan getting references. He makes few references, like his little brother will even wear a White Dragon shirt. Showing that, people like White Dragon. And Gohan, going about his daily life, but then when he sees a robbery, he ends up intervening like an idiot. Like, he even wears like a fucking paper bag as a mask, so people don't see that it's him.
Oh my
So-
god, we pretty much made a callback to the Fantastic Bagman and
Oh
Spider-Man.
god, like it was funny, but that made no sense at all.
True. But yeah, so then he starts asking his mother, where did he come from? Why is he so strong? So eventually, Chi-Chi shows Gohan Goku's pod, which he hid, and of course, it like Man of Steel. There's a recording on it. Although unintentionally, when Gohan activates it and learns about his father's origins, it signals a beacon that Raditz pretty much learns about. So Gohan learns that he's a Saiyan or half Saiyan, and of course it follows a trend of learning how to control these powers. And he does learn from Roshi how to, fight, also use key manipulation and such. And Bulma creates his suit. Now, what's funny is that throughout the movie, Gohan meets this girl, a silver-haired girl named Asuka, who, she's interested in him. She tells him, oh, you seem pretty smart, and a little flirty here and there. And then later on, when Gohan's about to get robbed, she shows off her kick-ass fighting skills. He's like, just imagine. I can just imagine he's just like, whoa.
Exactly, because people may know in DBZ continuity, Saiyans love strong women.
That's
Exactly.
true.
But unfortunately, because of Gohan activating the pod, Raditz comes to Earth and decides that this planet needs to be conquered. And so, of course, the minions of this movie would actually be the Cybermen. I think that would be an interesting thing. Or maybe, what do you think? Cybermen, or what do you think she should bring some of Frieza's men or some bounty hunters? What do you think?
I
Frieza's
feel like
man.
bounty hunters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Frieza's men are bounty hunters because like Cybermen are canonically as strong as Raditz.
It's really true, but like definitely like it's more so for like it would probably fit the whole thing for like a Frieza's men or mercenaries, just because
Yeah.
they just look to like get paid and like do it and not be on the receiving end of what they're about to see.
Yeah, so Curtis Gohan gets his classic Saiyaman outfit, which, of course, even Asuka, when she tells him that she knows, he's like, well, what do you think? She's like,
That's your costume?
like
Could
that's
use
your
some work.
Wait, which costume are we going with? The helmet or the bandana?
helmet.
Because the-
Helmet.
The helmet.
Fucks. God.
What? He's learning how to be a superhero. And of course, there's some hijinks where, like, say Gohan stops a bus but ends up breaking it in half and such.
Oh my god, that's a reference to The Incredibles. I love it.
I know, but
I thought it was reference to Blue Beetle.
oh yeah, true. Just
Either or.
like break it. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. But of course, the movie, Gohan starts fighting Raditz and such, and then he learns that Raditz is his brother or is his uncle, and then he learns that Saiyans are meant to destroy. So Gohan starts having this existential crisis, like, why did my dad lie to me? Why did he just say we were peacekeeping? Why is he, like, he's just trying to wonder. And of course, I kind of want to pull a reference to Iron Man 2, where Gohan's just on top of a noodle place. He's just eating noodles on top. And of course, Roy Mustang would actually arrive and says, "Sir, please get down from that ramen box." Just imagine. I can just imagine Gohan's just eating. And of course, that's
Yeah.
when Gohan learns that Asuka's actually an agent of Vanguard, codenamed Rapture. And yes, this is Asuka Otori from Magical Girl Spec Ops Asuka, in case anyone wants to know. Here's her image. Yes, there we go. So, of course, it follows a similar battle scene to Man of Steel, city destruction, Gohan's fighting. Asuka would actually kill some of Frieza's men to show how strong she is. Although, during the battle, Raditz starts beating Gohan down and even threatens to kill his family. And that kind of triggers something in Gohan, anger. And he learned from one of the holograms his dad told him that anger for your loved ones brings out power. So eventually, before Raditz could hurt Chichiro Goten, Gohan stands up and his hair turns gold. He turns into a heart-shaped Super Saiyan and ends up fighting Raditz to what's pretty much a bloodbath. Think of pretty much Superman vs. Zod. It's kind of like that level of destruction.
Yeah.
Although eventually Gohan tries to get Raditz to surrender, but Raditz tells him that he won't stop, and eventually tries to do a pot shot towards Asuka. Gohan ends up running his hand through his uncle's chest, and essentially killing him.
Raditz is always getting something punctured through the chest every time.
Yeah, fuck Raditz, man. He sucks.
I know. that's what I'm saying, like,
Yeah, he kind of had a little bit of potential, like in like certain like what ifs that other people have done, but Toriyama, yeah, he just needed someone to like kill off like really quickly and get the ball rolling on the
it's
arc.
just that one-off villain.
But
Yeah,
so yeah, then eventually near the end of the movie, Gohan and Asuka would talk. You know, he's surprised that she's a super secret agent, but also admits that it's kind of cool. And she admits that, you know, your outfit's grown on me. Just lose the cape. What? The cape's cool though.
or if not the cape, the helmet, please.
What? I need to hide my identity.
You could just have a bandana and a mask on. You don't need the whole piece.
Bandanas are not cool. Just go on. Just...
I mean, I heard people try ski masks and sunglasses. That does not work.
You're not gonna look like a goddamn Power Ranger. Get something different.
So there's that back and forth, and then she tells him that, you know, there might be a chance we might hire, you know, if we need your help, you know, we'll call. But then Gohan's like, so do you want to get some beats?
Go to a movie or something.
I'll think about it.
No, she's like, sorry, I gotta work. Call me. She throws a card. Call me. He's like,
I got a girl's number?
and he's like, woo! He just flies off like happy. Just imagine. And then of course the movie like it takes like maybe 2 weeks later. The city's still being rebuilt, and then Gohan like he has a new watch that tells him about any danger. Of course he suits up and flies off, and that's Sandman. So I know it's a little cliche, but I think it is a more interesting take on the Dragon Ball formula. You know, because if we had Goku, it wouldn't be as interesting, you know, because we had no Goku.
And to people may also know that we actually have Goku dead throughout this entire movie. Hence, why we have holograms and like references to Goku, similar to how in Man of Steel, yeah, Clark Kent is like reminiscing about his father and learning from his teachings. That was basically the whole thing why we don't have Goku in this one.
Don't worry though, you'll get another fight-loving monkey maniac soon.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Trey! Why you gotta spoil shit?
Hey, I didn't spoil shit. I'm just
We
saying.
didn't spoil it though. So like, and hell, I kind of did the same thing in White Dragon. So I kind of can't put all the blame on Trey.
Okay. Oh, speaking of a post-credit scene, I can just imagine post-credit scene. Now, it's nothing like too serious. Just Gohan posing in the mirror, like.
I'm pretty sure someone's gonna be like an. I think to add up to that, maybe someone that's like seen the posts is like, oh, this youthful spirit. It sort of reminds me of someone in my youthful days.
He's like,
lead up to what's next.
Yep. So now our next movie, and it is a Nate one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It is Captain Arc, First Hero. You're probably wondering what the fuck that means. Nate, why don't you explain?
I've been wondering about like the whole Captain Arc for this one. Well, this is like going towards Jean Arc from Ruby. I'm pretty sure people are wondering why you're not using Ruby Rose or someone from Team Ruby. Well, I wanted to go for a different direction. And admittedly, Jean, yeah, it'll have some of the same beats as the first Captain America movie, but add a bit of some of the fantasy aspects to it. With some of the Jean Arc, similar to how Ruby presents it, he wants to be a hero. But there's an interesting twist I added to it. Jean has an illness that makes him weak, fragile, which means he can't last that long in a fight even if he trains hard. But then, after losing his hope of becoming a knight, he decided he was approached by a mysterious man, who people might know, Ozpin, who helped him. That's like the one part I'm a little stuck on. Like, how is he going to get rid of that illness, and how is he going to become a powerful hero?
I do believe that Ozpin, knowing the whole thing with Ozpin and his aura with like reincarnation, but also transferring his part of his self and like most likely his aura to other people, hence how he was able to reincarnate himself every single time. That could probably be like something that Jean would actually take on, following like curing himself of that illness, but also benefiting to himself for his own aura because he can't really hold it for that much longer.
That's right.
We could also just go with plot.
God damn it, Trey.
plot,
How to
plot,
get cured?
plot naming is normally the strength of a lot of these things.
Yeah, pretty much that. But after getting like that new power aura, Jean thinks that being a hero, he's finally gonna live up to his legacy. Only to realize that there is something sinister, something dark that is happening, that is going up against the Knights. Let's say it's a woman that is clad in black and white. You know her as Salem.
Oh god, that bitch.
Yep. And it's pretty simple. She's all about destruction, and she has a mysterious power, or say, a force, that she plans to use to bring the whole world in ruin. This eventually led to Jean teaming up with other heroes, such as Lai Ren and his love interest for that film, Kira Nikos. And of course, during the whole arc, Jean actually learns the harsh truths of being a knight. He can't always save everyone, which is very evident when he lost a few comrades and when he lost Lai Ren in battle. But after encouraging talk from Pyrrha, he decided to get up and confront Salem on his own. And I can imagine the fight being kind of similar. I would say I would probably take like a page maybe from like how Logan versus his clone would play out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Jean, after being upset after what Salem has done, he decided to go all in, decided to go all out. But after remembering what his family told him, after remembering his comrades, he decided to give Salem a chance to surrender, only for Salem to inadvertently cause her own demise when she accidentally used the mysterious weapon on some dust crystals, and it inadvertently created a big, massive explosion.
Yeah. This item in question is an orb of pure black energy that anyone who is touched dies. So that is pretty much something that's going to come back later on. But of course, because Cinder is an idiot, that caused the pulse that killed her, though Jean was able to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was able to get out, but unfortunately, the blast did cause him to be trapped in a dust cave, and that eventually led him to be imprisoned in one of the crystals, forcing him in a cryostasis sleep for 200 years.
Pretty much like Captain America.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we pretty much had like we've had a few heroes take big power naps.
Yeah,
That's true. But after being discovered by some soldiers and being broken free from the crystal, he eventually woken up. But he was so alarmed to see all this technology, all this like new people, and even seeing some other heroes like White Dragon, Saiyaman. Jean was taken aback until he was approached by someone who was also part of the Vanguards, but with a man with metallic arms, James Ironwood. So, you're finally awake. Who are you?
You probably knew my great-grandfather, Ironwood. Call me James.
Wait, Ironwood? And that's where like the movie ends with that post-credit scene.
Although I think, well, that ends with that scene, but I think the
I feel
post-credit
like the
scene,
movie itself it should end there. Post-credit scene should actually
I think it should focus on like them miners finding the cave, and then eventually finding the orb. They're like,
Yes.
what is this? But then when they touch it, they die. But then we see one figure walking in the shadows, and they grab it, but they don't die. And they're like,
Finally found it.
Exactly. So, dun dun dun!
which
That's
then leads into what we to probably what is going to be something we're all going to like talk about is called D-Drag. As people may know, that is the name of the boosted gear from the franchise known as High School DxD. Now, yes, so we're gonna like try and not go too crazy with High School DxD because DxD is already crazy enough as normal
It
concept.
literally has every single mythology on top of whatever made up bullshit the author comes up with. Like,
Pretty
Exactly.
much.
Yep.
Exactly.
much
But
to include.
we'll still introduce the main protagonist, which is Issei Hyodo. And he's still kind of the same as he is pervertedly, but in a way, this movie kind of revolves more around him actually growing while still retaining some of that like immaturity in himself for his character development, which is probably what the author should have done in the first place, but that's besides the point.
Essentially, he'll still being an annoying pervert, but like the positive traits that he showcases in the light novel will be emphasized, highlighted, and developed on more so rather than his perversion, especially since we're in a more traditional plot-driven, action-oriented kind of serialized storyline rather than a story that balances fan service as well as shonen tropes.
Exactly, which goes into like the whole like we're keeping the whole love interest thing with Rias Gremory, the sister to basically to Sir Zex, who is AKA Lucifer in the Devil World, which he'll still also be a whole plot point in the story.
Yeah, it's
also
totally deserves
one-
better in my opinion, though, man. Come on.
Wait, what?
I said Rios deserves better.
Yes,
I know,
yes,
man.
thank you.
I
Just leave him with Irina. Leave him with Irina. Let him fuck the angel.
But you're also gonna know someone else that's probably gonna be in the running as a maybe like potential love interest, but also a good like ally to Issei, which is actually going to be Yoko Littner from the Gurren Lagann series.
But her codename is Crosshair because everything that gets in her crosshair is dead. Although,
Yes.
plot twist, she was the one that found Saber's sword at the post-credit scene of Soul Reaper. So,
Exactly, as you know, red hair, ponytail.
Wait,
Ring a
question:
bell?
are we still keeping her age at 15?
No, we're making her about I'd say 20. She's kinda
Damn
like
it!
20.
Because like let's be real, that would have been fucking hilarious. Like
No, 'cause-
Issei and Rios look at her and be like, "You're 15."
Well, technically,
Issei's
Issei's
like-
will be the youngest in the team. He's literally still 16 in this timeline.
I
So-
know. I'm just thinking in my head, like, Issei looking at her like, "You're 15."
God damn it! Try to get your mind with the goddamn gutter.
Well,
From
he's
Issei's
always-
perspective,
It's honestly like it kind of would be from Issei's point of view. It's like
Yeah.
he would see that and like turn to Konako like,
Wow.
what happened to you then?
Jesus Christ. Okay. So
No,
moving on,
I'm
moving
pretty sure
on.
That's
this
aside-
is like,
That's
That's-
besides the point.
Uh,
So yeah, but then we'll go into the who's the big bad, like because because like with DxD, like big baddies are not really like you can grab them but they're gonna be like killed off or like pushed off to the background or they'll pull full on 180 and be an ally. But one that's not, who has his own thing, which actually is a callback from one of the things that we had in the previous post-credits scene, Volley Lucifer.
AKA Albion.
As we know, D-Drag is the red dragon, Albion is the white dragon. Always like yin and yang in the DxD continuity. But this is actually going to be pushed to the more limits because Drake and Issei bonded more earlier and actually can unlock that potential rather than Issei trying to figure it out but stumbling every single time because he always sees himself as a downer or like he's just not that powerful.
Exactly.
But even in the normal continuity in the light novels and the manga, Issei does have that like potential. Like the guy also uses like all 7 pawns to be revived, and normally that doesn't really happen according to Rias. So basically, Issei learns about Volley's involvement from Azazel, who was basically like Volley's boss, but then he turncoat and Volley went rogue. That's basically how we're gonna like leave that in. Like Volley's a rogue, but he's basically the descendant of some of those powerful devil families. Hence why he's so powerful as Albion. So it goes into the whole way like probably Volley just sees this as like he has to be the white dragon of creation because I'm pretty sure that's what Albion would want. Like he's the dragon of creation or something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've caught up with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But either way, he would use, as we know, that orb. We saw that, the orb of death, but he's constantly using his divine dividing to actually nullify it and actually add it to his power. So he actually has that strength. So how are they going to do this? So how do you guys think they would probably go around if they actually met up like that?
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead, Drake.
I feel like keeping them as antagonistic forces, at least in this kind of setting, makes sense. Because, like you said in the light novels, not to say that Issei and Vali's relationship is bad in the light novels per se. It's more so it's like Issei started out like developing his strength more gradually and slowly, which prompted Valley to take on more of a bit of a coach type of role. Like he doesn't want Issei to die before getting a proper fight, and that kind of led to them having a proper bond. But if we're going in this route where Issei is much stronger off the bat to actually pose a threat to Vali and his own plans from the start, then there's no reason for Vali to play a more supportive and patient role. He actively sees an opponent he could go up against, and therefore going forward, like I like Vali at least as a rival and a foil to Issei. I used to not like Vali that much, but I appreciate the role he plays now. And while I'm not seeing him as someone that could be like straight up evil, I do see him as this like okay, you guys are probably gonna like disagree with me on this one, but for some reason I feel like in this setting he could pretty much be like the Hisoka of this setting, in the sense that he, like, one moment he could be an ally, but another he's like an antagonistic force because like he's essentially just chaotic neutral at its finest.
Yeah,
that is true, and that'll actually go into like a later movie, but we're actually gonna like notice this because Vali has this orb and nobody knows about this orb. There's like something about it. There's something not right with this thing, and it's probably shown when God, who's that fucking dragon lolly in the show of DxD with the name?
Ophis.
Yeah, like Issei, Rias, and the others would probably learn about this from Sir Zex because Vali's now posing a threat to not just human world but also to the devil world, because he sees himself as the true devil king because he sees himself as the strongest. He's like that bloodline thing. So they learn of Elphys, and she actually notices that there's something in him that's different. Like she may have known about him, but something is different ever since he's touched that orb. And so Vali shows up. Well, just gonna say like he shows up and he knows that like Elphys probably or like the thing in Vali knows about Elphys and like wants to get rid of that so that can wipe the slate clean of the plane of existence. So big battle, always known, and this will probably be a good chance to show off Issei's real true potential using Juggernaut Drive against the White Dragon Juggernaut Drive and actually seeing that battle play out. But in the end, Vali gets defeated with the sheer might of Issei going like basically powering himself up, even like taking that orb from him. Similar to how Guardians of the Galaxy, it's basically trying to kill him, but he's basically amplifying it with Drake and just probably just a full-on just sucker punch to Vali and just knocking him out.
Banishing him to a different realm, like similar to how Sonic banished Eggman in the first.
Exactly.
Or I think like if that happens, like he sees Vali's about to fall in and he grabs him like, hang on! Just hold on! Like, why? Look, you're an asshole, alright? But I'm not gonna kill you, man. And then just Vali
that's why you're weak.
That is a reference to Kick-Ass 2, and I like it.
So yeah, like similar to how Loki let go of the staff with Thor because he thought he was doing good, but his father said, no, this is like not right at all for a king. So took it upon himself, you know what, okay, fine. I'm gonna do my own thing again. And that basically, so they learn more about this. They give this to Elphys to probably store it in like a magical seal. And we actually learn more about this. And Kevin, if you want to share what these orbs actually mean, for like how they will learn at the end of the movie.
Pretty much, she tells him that this orb isn't from Earth, as in it's not from this plane of Earth or the next. It's not from this galaxy. It's from somewhere out there. And even Issei is just like, what the what? So they try to hide it away, but Yoko, who was there because she wanted to help, she tells them, I'm gonna need that orb. And of course, Ophis is telling them that we can't allow humans to grab it. But though she points out, yeah, but I'm pretty sure you didn't do jack shit, Drago. So hand it over. So reluctantly, Ophis
be a good little girl.
Exactly. So Ophis, she will allow the humans to check it, but she'll have Rias go as an observer, pretty much. Although she does tell Issei that if that thing goes wrong, destroy it. And then the movie just kind of near the end, Rias tells Issei, like, I'm glad I chose you as a pawn. Just maybe tone down the perviness. What? What?
Oh, not that bad, am I?
Everyone else is like, yeah, you're kind of bad, yeah.
Well, I didn't know what Tommy's
character development.
Exactly. So the movie ends with just Issei flying off in the distance like a hero. Although post-credit scene, I'm curious, like, what would be the post-credit scene for you guys? What would you
Basically,
think?
the post-credit scene would be like very similar to like in the Thor one when they're giving the ether to the Collector, similar to like how like, and also how Dr. Alexander found the Tesseract. They would actually. So we have one. How many more are left?
No idea.
And like Volley's like in the shadow. Like, well, we're just got to find out and see, won't we?
And you just see like a strange swirling portal opens behind Volley before he enters it, which hints at something's going on. So that
won't be told in this story until we actually go into the second to last one before we get to the next film, which is Trey is taking over as director for this one for Yuki.
All right, Trey.
Yep, I am ready. Now this isn't perfect, just some kinks to work out, but I do got the general gist of what I want to accomplish in this movie. And the more I think about it, the more you could view this movie as kind of like similar, but also like a direct contrast to Black Panther in a sense. Because basically this movie centers around a Jujutsu Kaisen character, the fourth special grade and the oldest special grade, Yuki Tsukumo. And essentially what I'm envisioning this to be is more so like somewhat prequel era, like sometime after, say, Nate's movie, Arc movie, but maybe sometime before the movie about Issei, possibly, considering that Yuki in canon proper is in her 30s. We can afford to have a movie of her in her earlier days, in her younger 20s.
Yeah.
So essentially the setting is in Africa, and it revolves around how, I don't think we need to change much about Jujutsu Kaisen and its characters too much. Like, it can fit seamlessly into the setting, and you can take Yuki just as she is. But basically, I think what will be interesting is in response to a world where sorcerers are not the strangest things anymore, where you have these superhuman people completely unaffiliated with cursed energy whatsoever. Yuki Tsukumo, who is searching for a solution to getting rid of cursed spirits without depending on cursed energy, would be intrigued by this. So I feel like an interesting way to follow, and this is where the Black Panther parallels I said come in. It takes place in Africa, because I feel like, with a character like, say, Miguel, who was in Volume 0, the black dude that got his ass kicked by Gojo. He has a tribe in Africa, so there's obviously a hint that supernatural occurrences occurs in Africa. And I feel like it would be a good segue to include in possibly either some supernatural, like super soldier testing within Africa, while also combining the whole cursed spirit aspect, possibly based on whatever mythological figure I could cook up with in Africa.
I think like during the movie, like while she's being debriefed, like you see in her notebook that she sees like pictures of what looks like a devil flying, and then also reports of people seeing ghosts, hinting at Ichigo and Issei respectively. So she's like, what the fuck is going on? So it's kind of like reaching that. It's
If we're gonna
reference.
include Issei, we're gonna have to like not make it a prequel then, because she's way older than him.
Well, no, but no. This takes place like before Issei. So like devils, like people are seeing devils because devils do exist. So it's like it's not really like related to Issei itself or even Ichigo. It's just saying that people see these things, and she's wondering like if this is connected. or if it's
Okay, I
something
understand
new.
what you mean. Yeah, but in the way of like storyline, it's pretty fairly straightforward. And this is once again, this ties into the Black Panther parallel. One of the core themes of Black Panther was passiveness versus proactiveness. Like
Yes.
whether if Wakanda should stay as a passive, neutral nation or should actually be venturing out into the world to do more. I'm obviously of the side that the world should venture out to do more. Yuki, however, while she is pretty much the exact opposite of T'Challa is a royal king with a strong moral compass. Yuki is a more or less a drifter who tends to have a very loose moral code that tends to have just as many consequences as it does benefits, but they tackle similar themes of whether or not they should be more proactive or passive. And Yuki, she is known as a slacker within the content setting. And while that sounds funny, sorcerers, think about what they do. They go out and are assigned missions to take care of spirits that are a danger to humans. The fact that she is slacking on those missions means she has knowingly let spirits run rampant and endanger the lives of innocent people and even her fellow sorcerers for her own ends. So I feel like this would be a good movie to tackle that kind of concept of her, where she is caught in a crisis of whether or not she has to prioritize her own research goals or actually do her job as a sorcerer. And of course, I feel like that would be a good way to segue into development, where she still sees her research as important, but she realizes I'm in this profession for a reason, and I should be able to find a way to do both. So I feel like that would be a good way of character divergence for her.
Exactly.
And one thing I am most excited for, though, is like just writing out some of the fight scenes, because Yuki's power, being able to control mass, like I don't want to spoil it too much, but I have so many ideas of how you could possibly go about it. I'll tell you guys off camera though.
Who would be the villain? Like, who's the villain?
Yeah,
Just
like,
an
who is the
original
villain
person.
actually?
Main villain, like honestly, like I said, it ties back to the whole spirit being like a mythological figure, and I feel like that could contrast with the balance of it. Like you have people that are totally unrelated to spirits that she's trying to research, but then you have a spirit that's pretty much coming in and fucking things up that creates this conflict. Right? This is a movie more focused on Yuki as a character rather than introducing a new villain to the setting.
Yes, but I can also to relate to the other series. Maybe this cursed spirit is trying to kill more humans, and he keeps referring to, "I need the core," and
That's
Yuki's
what
like,
I was
the
asking, like, because this is like you're saying this takes place a few months after, like how long a time period, like after Nate's movie, correct?
Yes.
So I'm thinking like this, like the thing that, and going off to what Kevin actually mentioned about the notes about it, referencing to the Hound or like Salem's magic as
Yeah.
something that like they're trying to
Basically,
like
aftermath.
see about
Yeah.
that.
That's actually something I really wanted to do, like off of Nate's thing, because like it's very Captain America-esque, and of course, like in the MCU proper, they do like their own pseudo rip-off super soldier research. So if we could integrate elements of maybe Nate's movie to where people in Africa are trying to, let's say, for whatever reason, like maybe even to drive away the spirit that's causing turmoil, start integrating like maybe Salem's magic or Ozpin's research that turned Ark into what he is, except to a like more dangerous extent, making them more volatile.
Yeah.
And
More
whatever makes them an
monstrous.
antagonistic force in their own right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I really do like that idea. Actually, that's a pretty damn
I'm
good
glad
one.
we're able to connect it somehow.
All right, so then like, what would happen near the end of the movie?
Near the end of the movie, it's like pretty much a cliche wrap up. Like she sacrifices the chance to further her research. Like the super soldiers that she wanted to like more or less get a hold of and further involve herself when she's forced to, let's say, let them perish so she could save the innocent lives of an African village from the spirit, essentially.
So she's a dick, but she's not an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Like the moral choice is basically her goal is, once she sees these soldiers, is like, I'm gonna capture at least a few of you and then hightail it out of here and do what I need to do. But the spirit keeps getting in the way of that, and eventually gets into a point where it's like innocent people are getting caught in the crossfire, and it's like, if we could really realistically do, we could possibly make what makes those soldiers volatile is that the magic in their system is like on a time limit. So that's why it's urgent for her to prioritize this research. But because she makes the choice to focus on the spirit, it's too late at that point, and they're pretty much dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although I think like what would be interesting, like maybe near the end, like she and Miguel, like you know how Jujutsu Kaisen Zero had Yuta and Miguel eating at that restaurant, like have Yuki eat with Miguel, and then he mentions, I told someone that you were interesting. She's like, oh yeah, who? It's like this ladies' man guy. He's the leader of like a organization or something, recruiting superhumans or whatever. I told him that you were pretty badass, so expect a call. She's like, oh, fuck, Miguel, really?
And maybe, like, add on to that, it can actually showcase, like, symbols or symbolisms of our other heroes. It's like, it's time to recruit them all.
Well, not yet, but yeah, I get what you mean. It's like, she's like, oh, what? So I'm gonna be the next White Dragon, Sandman? Oh, come on, Miguel. What? I think you'd be badass.
I like that, because like Yuki as a character, while I'm having her progress more into being a more proactive role as a sorcerer, sorcerers aren't really seen as traditional heroes in a sense, so she still has to like get into that mindset of being a goody two shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then is that how the movie wraps up? Just her just complaining to Miguel that she's not gonna be a fucking hero, or how would you want to?
Yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah, we could do that. Like wrap it up through that way. Like I said, very straightforward movie focused on Yuki.
Scene you want to put in this, Trey, or?
Oh yeah, what we talked about before, like how, like she's being like we could fast forward to present day and basically how she's being watched by the organization that's gathering these heroes, but whereas the person in charge,
Roy Mustang.
We're doing Roy Mustang.
Yes. I was bouncing back and forth between an agenda and Mustang. Whereas Mustang is expecting a call from one of his men. Instead, it's Yuki who hijacked one of the cameras from one of the men she just kicked the ass off. And she could probably say along the lines of like, look, you've been doing this for years at this point. When are you going to get the message?
Very similar to like Superman talking to the Colonel after he knocked down a drone.
Exactly. But the difference here is that Roy Mustang is more or less goes into like kind of hints at like, this is different. This is going to get to you no matter what. And it's up to you if you want to be prepared for it or if you want to be caught with your pants down.
Yuki's like, all right. Send me a plane. Just send me a plane. And that's how the movie ends. Yeah, I think this one would be the more controversial movie, but overall, I like it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally at our last movie.
Yep, and I'll be taking over as director for this final movie in this arc, which is titled The Silver Sentinels.
I call ownership over action scenes, though.
Okay, well, Trey, we're just... All right, sure. You know what? Yes, Trey,
You'll
you're
be in charge of the
action
action
scenes.
sequences.
Go ahead.
You'll probably be in charge of production design.
All right.
So,
Go ahead, Brent.
So as pretty much everybody knows, we're going to be introducing all the heroes that we've mentioned. Seto Kaiba, White Shinji, Jean Arc, Issei Hyodo, Gohan, Yuki, Ichigo, Yoko Littner, Roy Mustang. Basically all the people that we've now mentioned. How the base of the movie will start off is where the Vanguard is doing experiments on the orb that they've captured from Volley when Rias brought it to their world, and Rias is now like trying to doing like a test, like using a magic glyph or like doing it like trying to annihilate it. Like the thing is just indestructible. Like something is just not right about this. But as soon as they start like they notice like a power rumble, something about this thing is like. But Asuka and Yoko, who are there with Roy Mustang, because this, of course, is Vanguard. They're of course next to each other. They need to be together all times. They're noticing something like it's not charging anything. It's sending a signal. And then as soon enough, like perimeter alarms go off, like just like these like shadow creatures, like something is like killing these men one after another, basically reminiscent of like any hallway scene you've seen in every horror film. But the biggest capture point of that is when they actually see a portal opening up, and you see someone clad in white and blue armor, and it's not White Dragon, but a different variation. Volley is back. As you see him as he powers down, walks up to it, is like, "Thanks for keeping this thing nice and clean for me." Rias tries to go over, but then like Volley like grabs it by the neck, like no effort. Like this guy, like he's been training, or like something about him is like stronger. He's just like not even flinching. And he even like takes the orb, but like something else about him like is a new power, corruption, taking over minds.
Oh,
Something that's actually tying into someone else. As Ophis mentioned, there's something else in that orb that Volley has. So now Rias, not just like we know, like in the Avengers, like when Loki is that they say like, it opened their eyes and they want to follow him. Instead of that, it's just literal just corruption. Like they're just mindless zombies, just following every one of his orders. And to make sure he's not followed, he basically tells Roy Mustang like, "Send all your strongest fighters. They won't help you. Not after what's coming." And he squeezes the orb and basically causes the whole place to almost cave in, barely with Roy, Asuka, and Yoko making out they're alive. So the two of them are like, "What the hell was that thing?"
Something wrong.
Just war. And then so we got to our title, from our opening intro, Silver Sentinels. And it will pad out similar to how Nick Fury was recruiting the Avengers to team up. First off, it'll be going to go see Jean Arc, basically trying to still figure out where he is in time. But I think probably the best way to probably mix these two ideas is actually have him and Saber to get together, not together, but like together trying to figure out, like, because one's been asleep for 200, one's been asleep for 1,000. So you kind of like they have a back and forth, like fish out of water.
Their banter are gonna be like, "So, are you beginning used to this time?"
No, like I don't even know what is this? They say it's a.
They say it's a phone, but it's almost similar to like my
why is this not working?
Exactly. So
yeah, like a double fish out of water kind of situation. Like not sure what to expect, but also like a good thing is they can actually show off training, as we see like Saber can unsheath Excalibur, but not like its full power. It's basically like similar to like how Excalibur in multiple iterations, that like it kind of hides its true form and like from a normal sword. So like she hasn't really unlocked it yet, and Jean is trying to like get used to like having his shield again after like the guy has been like, he's probably the most jet lagged out of Saber, because she's probably used to it more than him.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure like with recent training, it's like, you're not as sloppy as I've recruited. Never. Well,
and then of course we get Roy Mustang walking in like, "All right, you two, playtime's over."
Wait, where's Ironwood?
You'll see him on the ship, and also Maze is with me too, so don't worry. Like Jean, you're probably gonna get like a few questions out of him. People may know like Maze Hughes will probably function as our Phil Coulson kind of way. Like he's already out and about. Like Asuka is out trying to find Gohan, and Yoko is trying to find Issei. Maze is basically like trying to talk to Kaiba, but Weiss is probably stopping him. Like while Kaiba is basically trying to work, being the like imagination person he is, he's trying to like make a new like either section of his suit with Weiss Steiner, or he's basically at a unveiling of a new dual tech. still within his character, but then
Yeah.
has to come back, dons the White Dragon suit, and flies back to Kyber Corp Tower. So yeah, like Maze basically introduced himself. Kai was like, yeah, I know, Vanguard. I already told him. I said I would think about it. I'm not like you. Like your little boy band is a little bit probably rough in my style here. I also have a million other press conferences to do it. But like Weiss is basically showing him on like, you sure though, babe? I'm actually seeing something else that's actually in these plans or like these reports.
What? Who gave you permission to look at them?
You enter the tower.
Hey,
You get the hack key.
basically giving him like a little like snarky like, well, I guess who knows who wears the pants in this relationship.
and Wise is just like snickering in the background, and Cub is like,
Shut up. What has Roy sent you for? And basically showing off like all this stuff, volleys showing up, Rias getting taken, and then basically he's being shown who these other people they've been tracking. And so like, okay, who's first? So basically calls Mokuba, cancel all my meetings. Good to be out of town.
how long? Probably a week.
But I'll let you know. Goes off, finds a Roy Mustang, and then how would I'm not just gonna like be like the overarching director. I want to like to hear like how like from everyone else on how we've heard from these stories. How would like some of these people get like introduced? First off, with like the next person on the list would probably be Saiyaman Gohan. How would Asuka find him?
Well, pretty much Gohan is. I think it would be kind of similar to Spider-Man 2, where like Gohan's just eating a hot dog, just normally. Then he sees a fire, he's like, and just go to a like maybe a phone booth. He's just like, he's just changing. He's like,
how does Superman do this?
I'm pretty sure. You know what would be funnier if Asuka was like, finally, I found you. And she saw Gohan mid-change.
Look. Oh, Asuka. Oh, hey. Okay, hang on.
It's not what you think. It's not what you
no.
think.
He's like, oh, okay. There's a fire right there. Just stay right there. Wow, you look good. I mean, okay, I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
And he just goes down, stops the fire, and then he talks to her. And he's like, "What's up? We need your help." Okay. Wait, you need my help, or who needs help? Because I'm pretty sure there's like 20 other people that need help.
Just come with me.
Okay then. So Gohan just goes to them, and Ichigo, of course, I think he would be, he'd be hunting down hollows and such. He'd be fine. Then all of a sudden he gets a phone call. He's like, "Hello? Hey, Ichigo, my boy. Kisuke, what do you want?" "Oh, well, I'm here with Maze. Having some tea." "Wait, what the fuck? Maze? Maze Hughes?" "Yeah, he's on the line." And of course, this is where Maze kind of convinces Ichigo, like, "You might want to come in. We might need a second opinion." So of course Ichigo goes. As for Yuki though, how would Yuki be recruited?
Yeah, how would like going off to like former like a previous director Trey, how would Yuki actually be introduced and actually shown to like get recruited in this point in time?
Continue off the post-credit scene. We can either A, have her already. Where's the base of operations?
It's a floating fortress.
Floating fortress. We can already have her in the floating fortress, more or less bugging the shit out of the workers there. Or B, introduce her in a more combative role, in like say where maybe like how Tony Stark comes in and just one-shots Loki as Captain America's fighting him.
Yeah.
We could possibly introduce Yuki in that kind of fashion because she's already with them.
Okay.
Maybe, but I was also thinking like maybe she arrives at the airport. She's like, "Oh, finally! God damn, that flight was a pain in the..." Like she's complaining about the flight, and then of course there's Yoko in like a business suit. It's like, Yuki Tsukumo? Oh no, Yuki Tsundere? You're Yuki Tsundere, right?
All right, just knock it off. That's Yuki. So where do we go from here? And Yoko could just point to another private jet or helicopter.
She's like, "Oh,
Yuki just goes like, "Fuck me."
Not again.
It's like, so what are we dealing with? Pretty much a guy in a white armor, who pretty much just murdered about 50 agents. Oh,
Wait,
and
the White Dragon?
like no,
Not, not really a white dragon, another white dragon.
What the fuck? Like Yuki's like, what the?
What?
Like I Trey,
Dude?
Wait, Trey, would Yuki go like, what the fuck? What? Like, would she be confused? Like, why is there 2 white dragons? Or like, what do you think?
I think she would be confused more so at the fact that they're the same color rather than the fact that they're dragons. And Yoko could be like at her like, that's what you're taking from this? And Yuki could be like, did you forget what I do for a living?
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So then
like,
it goes into like the last person on the list, which is Issei.
well, actually, what I was thinking about Issei, he could be like the Thor when he comes in last minute to try to get the orb, you know, and he fights the team.
Yeah, that
so.
makes a little more sense.
When he
Also
picks
because
the
he's a teenager, I'm pretty sure they didn't want to recruit a team.
And we got Kaiba, we got Yuki, we got Saber and Jean. So basically 4 out of the 5, as we know, like Issei is. We were saving that for another point in this movie. How it would actually go about like Kaiba being all arrogant as he is, like, all right, where's the next tech lab? We need to figure out what this thing is going on here. Jean and like Saber are just like, did you have a guy like this in your time?
There's Merlin. He was okay.
I had run into some bullies here and there. It's nothing new.
That actually is actually not so much true in either timeline. So we're gonna put an axe on that. Kaiba's just like basically like his ego is starting to show, but like basically Roy is like holding like basically the one that's trying to keep this thing from like falling apart. He's the one trying to hold this together. Not really much of the other heroes yet, actually.
And Yuki's just there adding fuel to the fire because she's bored.
Yeah.
She
Like,
would probably
Maze
do
is Maze is like trying to talk to Jean and Saber like how they upgraded their suits and like we actually and like Saber, trust me, we didn't worry too much about the whole
She's like, what?
Saber's like, should I be offended, jealous, or what?
And then Yuki's like, yes. Yuki's just like, yes.
Harper is like, this feels a bit different from my original one.
So then like everyone goes. Yeah.
Wait, what, Trent?
Go ahead.
I was saying, Ichigo and Issei, they're technically the 2 youngest, the second youngest and youngest respectively.
Well,
I think they would establish.
Well, I was gonna say
How old is
Ichigo's
Ichigo
19.
in this-
So Ichigo's 19, Gohan's 18, Issei's 16.
Okay, well, including those 3, considering those 3 are like the pseudo youngest of the group, you think they would establish like a pseudo kind of clique with each other?
I don't know about Ichigo and Issei, bro. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
Gohan
Ichigo deals with Kaigo all the time, and he's essentially Issei without powers.
True.
It's
That's
It's kind of true, but everyone hears that like here's the something's going on like either in we'll say like either excuse me, like Russia or Germany, Rome, like somewhere is like being like a hot spot right now, and like what we can actually tie it into from the Saber movie. Volley is actually trying to find something to connect the orb to, which, as we know from what was Gilgamesh trying to find, the Holy Grail.
Oh.
So this actually will show off like why the Holy Grail was so special in that movie. So wherever they are, the team goes out. Kaiba dons his armor, the new suits for Jean and White, for Jean and Saber. Yuki dons whatever the fuck she wants because that's her.
Yeah, exactly.
Ichigo, probably his Soul Reaper uniform.
Yeah, and they're like, wait, how do we see you? Oh, spirits can actually manifest themselves so that you could see me, but I can also turn invisible if I wanted to. And everyone's like, that is such
You're a
bullshit. Well, he's
Luckily, I put in a thermal recognition inside my suit. All right, enough talk. Let's go. So they just all jump out, land in the forest. Basically Kaiba is like in the like off screen, like Kaiba basically installs, or like that's what he was working on. He was installing like a tracking thing for certain like power signatures. So he's tracking it. They find Volley and Rias, and so now they actually this is where my my action coordinator Trey comes in for like the first fight scene between the shadow creatures that Volley is in charge of and the heroes for the first time. And basically, I'm pretty sure we probably have these guys not really working that well together and fighting it as a team.
Like, I can imagine Gohan's pretty much the one that's trying to say, guys, come on, we gotta work together. We're a team, right? Come on. And it's like, shut up.
We're a team on paper.
And I would imagine less of that. Well, maybe one or two. Like, I can imagine Kaiba saying some shit like that. But more so, I can envision, like, these guys just not knowing how to do it. Like, they're used to... Like, the only other person that probably knows how to cooperate with others is, like, fucking Saber and Yuki, because they both have that kind of experience, but they've probably been out of practice for so long and being so used to being at the front lines that they're not used to actually being with peers. It's like they inadvertently end up getting in each other's way because of that.
Yes.
That's true.
So, action, as everybody knows, Volley is captured and Rias is taken back, but they still can't knock her out of whatever trance Volley put her in. And that basically goes into the whole, like, they're transporting Volley back, and like you hear like a roar, like something in the background. Something is out there, and what scared of that little white noise? I'm not. Sorry, that's not. Sorry, the noise doesn't really bother me. What comes after that?
Gohan's just like, hang on, guys, I feel something. Someone's coming. Oh,
Minor
go ahead, right.
Minor backtracking. Since Rios is the one in their possession, maybe that could tie into their lack of cohesiveness, because in that kind of situation, I can imagine Issei to be very emotionally compromised and reckless in that kind of situation.
Exactly, which goes into the scene that we're at, landing on top of it with basically just talons digging into whatever jet they're in. Issei's Juggernaut drive,
like,
because he's just full on losing it. Rips open the drawbridge door and just flings Volley out because he doesn't really give a shit. He's just like, right now he's just in an emotional state panic. Volley lands down, probably like scraped and bruised. Like, Issei lands next to him. Where is she? How I've missed these, Red Dragon. Do I look like to be in a mood right now, Volley? Please. Is that exactly why? What do you think you're in the mood for nowadays, besides looking at girls 24/7?
Whew, shit, that sting.
Please.
Like, we know Volley has that silver tongue.
Yeah, he's just a roaster.
But yeah, so everyone is like thinking, like, is that second dragon they talked about? Like, what? Well, was he supposed to be white or red? Like, Kaiba's just like, who cares? I'm going after the guy.
John's like, wait, we need a plan.
There's one plan. Attack.
And I'm pretty sure Jean will probably fall after just to make sure nothing goes out of hand.
Yeah.
And I think probably what do you think? Like, who else would go in? Like, or would everyone else just go back to base?
Yuki would would definitely want to see where the action is.
Yeah, so she'll probably join John, most likely.
And knowing Ichigo, he wouldn't want to just rest on his laurels either.
And then so Gohan's like,
looking around the jet,
like he sees just the three other girls. Like, what should we just? And then Saber's just like, okay.
So yeah, basically, Kaiba is fighting against Issei, just like you took my prisoner. That's not gonna fly with me. You don't just take things that are not yours.
Wait, and Issei's like, holy shit, you're the White Dragon.
I don't give a shit what the thing is. You don't touch that.
Okay, look, man, I'm trying to get my friend back. Okay. Oh,
yes, we know about your girl toy, so we know about that. Okay.
What? Wait, you have her? Well, I mean, yeah. Technically, the jet has her.
The jet has her, which you basically flew out because you didn't want to follow us back to base because we were trying to contact you.
And then Issei just flat out punches Kaiba.
Did you
It
did you
turns into
just
a full-on brawl.
okay
Okay.
then?
Let's
That's
see
what
who's
we-
superior.
Fight. John's gonna try and step in, but Yuki's gonna be like, finally some action here.
It just turned into a
and of course,
three-way.
Ichigo is like, "Are you serious right now? We can't fight each other." And then Yuki's like, "Oh, what's wrong, Strawberry? You don't want to fight? I didn't know strawberries were pussies." And Ichigo's like, "What the fuck did you just say?" Well, it's just too many, Trey. I don't know.
No. I feel like we can lead off into that a little bit better. Like bouncing off what Brandon said, like finally some action. Like Yuki could possibly like instigate the situation as John's trying to cool down the situation. Maybe Yuki just leads in with an out of nowhere, out of pocket attack with her Shikigami on either Issei or Kaiba, and as Ichigo's trying to reprimand her, Yuki, as you said, Kevin, could probably like just verbally goad him and Ichigo into saying, "You know what? I'll put you down too."
And then this goes into like John now trying
Finally
to like
snapping. It is like, okay,
like using his like I was pretty sure like using his shield, his aura, and his sword, just like how a normal knight would do. Just enough.
and that would probably like incapacitate them most likely. Just like,
It's like, just put the
Do that.
put the wings down.
Yeah,
No, that
you-
away. He really likes
you
flying.
want to put the wings down?
You want to put the wings down, huh?
All right.
And
Don't
he
say I
goes
warn
in-
you.
And then like you see like a clash between Aura cover shield and then Issei's gauntlet. Just boom. Everyone's just knocked out. And I feel,
John will probably point out, it's like, I did try to warn you.
and then
No
of
one
course
lets
everyone
it
else
go
just,
again.
and then of course the military comes in, and then
Like,
everyone's
yeah, like,
arrested.
probably like Roy is like looking from a drone to be like, I made the wrong choice.
I'm pretty
there."
sure even Iroh will be like, you sure this is the right choice, Mustang?
No, it's
Oh
not.
yeah, like everyone gets back. They put Volley in like a special type of cell that like nullifies his sacred gear. But Kaiba and someone else on the team, I'm not sure who, would probably Ichigo. They would probably look through this like this orb thing that they have in confinement.
Yeah.
Everything is like trying to like put pieces of a puzzle together. Why is Volley back? What's his other power he has? Why does he want this orb so much? What is going on with Rias that's in isolation right now? Issei's trying to like talk to her, but she keeps muttering something. Like whatever it could be, like something is just not right. But that's when we actually know that she's actually chanting something. Because we know devils have glyphs and sayings and wording that actually control certain things of matter, which actually in this case could be Volley's shadow creatures. Like everywhere, like in the shadow, like there's something hiding there. And so soon enough, Issei thinks he got through to Rias after hearing her call his name, and just, stupid boy, you're gonna die. All of you are. And as soon as that just drops, bloodbath hits. Beasts are abroad, like the whole team is like shocked. They're trying to move around. Hughes goes out to like pretend like try to like not get anyone close to Volley. But that's when like Asuka and like probably someone like Ichigo, because like Ichigo probably has that more connection to Hughes.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe like we could pull like he sees Wally's out of the cage and he tries to go in, but then it's revealed that it was just a shadow creature pretending to be Volley, and now
Yeah.
Ichigo's trapped in the containment field.
And, like the real Volleys, they're like, are people in this world just that stupid for that old trick?
And of course,
So
because
like
of the-
Hughes has like
a light gun probably.
a light gun, like something that can
Like a holy gun or something.
damage like a being like Volley or somebody.
Yeah, because he's
So they,
still devils, so.
So he's basically, let's go ahead and like, I never actually had time to test it, but I think I found a perfect target. But as people may know, how this story's going, how this plot is going about, you see like Blade just stabbing right through his back. Ichigo is just distraught. Even like trying to go like maybe like even like showing off like some of his like hollow side.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to break out. And so like Volley's basically just toying with him, like say hi to your friend for me. Pushes the button and ejects the cage. So everyone is like distraught. The Flying Fortress is in shambles. Volley is gone. The orb is gone. Rias is gone again. And just they lost a man. Everyone is just like at their lowest point. No one is really like, even Kaiba and Yuki aren't really saying that much. So that's when Roy gave him the whole idea. We thought we could give the world a choice, a chance to have heroes like you be able to stop a threat. Were we wrong? And so it just leaves it would go with that. But that's when Volley actually finds what he's looking for, the Holy Grail. And as he actually looks at it, a little bit something is not right about the Holy Grail. An orange little orb is actually embedded inside of its gem. Like, alright then. Now, he's basically combining the two orbs for something. As, yes, I know it's the whole portal in the sky cliche, but it's what it is. We're doing that, but that's when everyone gets a chance to like showing up with their ultimate things. They actually come together like, you know what? Even like, it's probably even Gohan and Kaiba talking to the whole team like, was he wrong though? Look around us. Every single one of us has a polar opposite to each other. But what does that actually do with opposites? They attract. And we fight better like that. So, how about we actually go out and kick this guy's ass for what he did?
But Gohan goes like, are we a team though? Are we gonna actually be a team? Because last time we did this, he screwed us because we were divided. So are we a team?
You could possibly have even like maybe Saber or Yuki or Ichigo step up and say, at this point, we don't have a choice but to be a team.
So it's like, Saber's like, I've seen kingdoms fall. I'm not gonna let another. I'll fight with all of you, and then join my people in the afterlife. And then Asuka's like, I've been a soldier for so long. I can't lose another brother.
Already lost so much during those 200 years when I was asleep. I'm not gonna let anyone suffer.
And then they all look at Yuki, and then Yoko's like, well, you guys need a sniper, and I'm the only one that can actually pilot a jet, so I'm in. And then they all look at Yuki.
What the hell? Like, what the hell? This place hasn't been that nice to me anyways.
Right.
So now we got Team United, and they go out trying to wrap this up without trying to go so far into depth with this particular movie.
Yeah.
They go out, everyone dons their new significant like team-worthy uniforms, like probably even harkening back to like Saber's original costume, as well as like Yoko's original costume, Asuka's power, and we even see a little bit of a glimpse with Gohan trying to go, like showing signs of Super Saiyan 2, because he's just like, you picked the wrong place to like pull that shit.
You know,
like,
I can imagine him pulling a Hulk when he's like fighting Volley, and he's like, enough! I am a god among you humans, and I will not be bullied by an idiot in a cape!
And you call yourself a devil?
An interesting idea I actually thought of before that though. Like that could probably even lead to Volley being weakened enough for that to happen.
Yeah,
It's a team up between Issei and Yuki, in which Yuki traps Volley in a domain expansion where Issei is guaranteed to just go to town as Yuki just constantly bombards him with her own domain's effects.
exactly.
Mhm.
So they stop this whole invasion of what something in that portal in the dark mist in the galaxy was coming. So they were able to split the orbs apart and separate them. Go into the end where Kaiba and Weiss are basically together again after Weiss was worried to death about Kaiba like literally using his armor to try to like pull the orbs apart and basically almost killing the man.
Although I think-
Asuka finally going out on like a little trial date with Gohan, and Gohan's like a nervous wreck as we
It's like, so, I mean, we won. Yeah. So, does the offer still stand? So, what the offer? What offer? You said you wanted to see a movie. Still stand?
they'll stand.
I gotta get movie times. I gotta get some movie times. I got. I'll be.
I'll be right back.
And maybe a funny scene with Ichigo getting on a flight back in Japan, only for Issei and Yuki to conveniently be his two seatmates, much to his own fucking dismay.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder what would like Saber and Sean like do? Like,
Saber would probably just get a house in the country.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
maybe-
Saber be like, so I haven't been to London yet, believe it or not.
And then John's like, neither have I.
Neither have I.
I'm
Vacation.
pretty sure like hinted to like something later on. John will like probably go to like Mustang or Iron Man. Was like, you guys ever need
Oh.
me? I'll be around.
Something like that, and then Kaiba is like looking over blueprints for a new headquarters that we're trying to see, with Weiss basically looking over his shoulder and like pointing out where they should start building. But that'll basically end that movie. But of course, the final post-credit scene for this arc, while the portal closed, there's still like just ripples of that power in the air. Someone is waiting on a stone cold world on like a makeshift throne in a robe, looking out. Oh, I see we found where they are. As we're gonna go into this, the big baddie for this, the anti-spiral.
Yep. As we all know how OP the Spiral is, we thought he would be our Thanos, and that core is a part of him. We'll say that. So we have one core. How many more will we have? Well, you'll have to watch our other podcasts. So that's our first chapter / arc. I know there's a lot of second guessing here and there, but we did our best to structure it out, and I hopefully you guys enjoy it. We definitely did. And if later on we are actually going to do another podcast, but this time focusing on TV shows that actually take place in this same universe. I know we shouldn't do it, but we just thought it'd be fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please leave a like and let us know what do you think of our ACU so far. And as always, I hope
We'll
you
see
enjoy.
you in the next one.